Hello again and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the last IELTS writing task 2 essay, which is direct question or double question essays. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm going to explain and show you how to plan and write IELTS double question essays. That is the last type of writing task 2, and it's quite easy and straightforward. Please, guys, if you are watching me for the first time, try to go back to my previous videos and watch all IELTS writing task 2 types. I have already uploaded opinion essays, discussion essays, problem and solution essays, advantages and disadvantages essays. And now I'm uploading the last type of writing task 2 essays, which is double question essays or direct question essays. Okay, so try to go back and watch all these videos to be able to familiarize yourself easily and comfortably with this video. Okay, so try to go back. I'm going to repeat some, the technique again, and I'm going to repeat some of the key points to be able to understand and comprehend more the lesson, because I always take into consideration that who's watching me right now is maybe watching me for the first time or viewing this for the first time. So don't worry. I will just give you the best advice, and I will give you the best technique and the strategies to be able to to score high in this specific test. Okay. So how to plan and write IELTS double question essays. IELTS double question essays are also known as direct question or two question essays. They are distinguished by two characteristics. They have one statement with two different questions after it. The questions may or may not be linked. Okay, so you need to take this into consideration. So we have a specific topic, but we have two different questions. The questions might or might not be linked. So try to remember this point. Here are three examples. So I'm going to read the first example question. Fossil fuels are essential for producing electricity, powering industry, and fueling transportation. However, one day, we will reach a point when all the world's fossil fuels have been depleted. Depleted means fully consumed, okay? So the depleted comes from the word deplete and the noun depletion, okay, or depletion. So depletion or depletions means consumption or full consumption. So when something runs out, means it's getting depleted, okay, or it's been depleted. So how can we conserve these resources, and what are some alternatives to fossil fuels? So as you can see, we have two different questions in here, okay? They are linked in some way, but not very linked. So as you can see, if I'm reading the first question and if I'm reading the second question, I can tell that these questions have different answers. Okay, so in the first question, I have to talk about how can we preserve these resources, which is fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are the gas, oil, and petrol, for example. Okay, so these are the fossil fuels. And in the second question, I have to talk about some alternatives to fossil fuels. So you will have to talk about alternatives. So what alternatives, or substitutes? You need to mention some substitutes that you can talk about. And in this specific question, you need to try to follow the grammatical terminology of the question. For example, they're asking about some alternatives with the plural, okay? So it's better to mention more than one alternatives, okay? I know now you might be wondering and say, oh, but I have already said in my previous videos when it comes to advantages and disadvantages essays or the problem and solution essays, I've told you and I have recommended that you can use one problem and one solution, or one advantage and one disadvantage. However, what's called if you can't find one alternative, two alternatives, you can stick to one, but it's better to actually write two, because it's not an opinion, it's not a problem and solution essay to stick to only one. It's not an advantages and disadvantages essays or essay. So when they ask you about some alternatives to fossil fuels, try to just write about two, but you can gather them in one sentence. You get what I'm saying? So it's not about writing a lot of ideas. No. So you can write more than one alternative, but these alternatives can be linked to a specific thing, to a single specific matter. Okay, to a single specific matter. I will show you what I mean later on. So now we have the second question here. Some parents buy their children whatever they ask for. Let me just minimize this. I think it's taking, yes. So some parents buy their children whatever they ask for and allow their children to do whatever they want. Is this a good way to raise children? What consequences could this style of parenting have for children as they get older? So as you can see, that's a direct question essay, and we have two different questions. The third question, the arts, including art, music, and theater, are considered to be important in society. Do you think the arts still have a place amongst our modern lifestyles? Should the arts be included in the school curriculum? So amazing. So we have two different questions and they can be linked in some way, okay, which is okay. In this lesson, I'm going to demonstrate step by step how to plan and write IELTS double question essays. Once you understand the process, practice on past questions. Take your time at first and gradually speed up until you can plan and write an essay of at least 250 words in the 40 minutes allowed in the exam. So let's just highlight some of the common mistakes. So these three errors are common in IELTS double question essays. If you don't answer both questions fully, you would lose marks. If you don't outline both answers in the introduction, you would lose marks. If you mistaking or if you mistake one of the other essay types, you would lose mistakes. So as you can see, it's a double question essay. It's not an opinion essay. It's not an advantage or disadvantage essay. It's not a problem and solution essay. Okay, so it's a direct question essay. Don't confuse this with the other type of IELTS writing task 2 essays. So many students make the mistake of only answering one of the questions or focusing more on one question than the other, which leads to an unbalanced essay. But these errors will seriously affect your score for task achievement. You must outline everything you are going to write about in the introduction. This is your blueprint for the essay. Blueprint means your strategy or means your scheme, your plan. I will show you how to do this and get your essay off to a great start. It's easy to mistake IELTS double question essays for one of the other 4 types of task 2 essays, especially opinion or discussion essays. Each should be answered in a slightly different way. So analyzing the question properly is essential to avoiding this error. I will also show you how to do this and give you a simple 4-part structure for the planning your essay. So now let's move to that easy structure. So let's look at this essay structure straight away. You can use it to write any IELTS double question essay. It's easy and will enable you to quickly plan and write a high level essay. So let's just start with the introduction. So in the introduction, you need to paraphrase the question, and then after that, you will have to write the outline sentence. So paraphrasing the question, I've explained this before. I've explained to you how to paraphrase the question properly and correctly. You have to try to change as much as you can of words, or you can change some verb tenses. You can transform the question from an active form to a passive form, or from a passive form to active form. So try to do your best. You don't have to change every single word. Okay, if you don't know the synonym of a word, just leave it as it is, okay? Otherwise, you would lose marks. So don't risk yourself writing something you are not 100% sure of its meaning, okay? So as you can see, that's how we paraphrase the question. I will show you an example sentence about this specific question. And the second part where you have to outline your sentence, or you have to write the outline sentence. In the outline sentence, you need to state the answer for every single questions or every single question. So as you can see here, we have 2 questions, and that's a double question essay. So you will have to write the main idea or the main supporting reason or supporting point for the first question and the main supporting point for the second answer. And these 2 points will be detailed in main body paragraph 1 and main body paragraph 2. So as you can see in main body paragraph 1, which is the answer of question 1, you start by a topic sentence stating your answer again that was already written in the outline sentence, but here you have to make it more beautiful or like more obvious. So you can expand on the explanation of this topic sentence here if you want to make it more beautiful, or you can still simply paraphrase what you have already written in the introduction. After that, you will need to write the explanation sentence where you have to develop the idea, and then you have to give an example, okay? And as I told you, when it comes to the example, you can just mention something about your personal life or any personal experience, or you can rely on a study. But by the way, you don't have to know the actual facts of a specific study or survey. You can make up ideas, or you can make up information. So you can say, for example, a study carried out in Singapore proved or showed or has shown or has proved that 27% of people, blah, 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 blah. So you can make up percentages, locations, number. Do you get what I'm saying? So you don't have to be honest or genuine about the example, because the examiner is not going to check your facts. He just wants to see something supportive to the actual explanation and to the topic sentence, okay? So don't stress yourself about thinking about a super genuine example. Don't worry about this. Just try to make something relevant to the actual, overall meaning or the overall topic of the sentence. Moving now to the main body paragraph 2, where we have to follow the same strategy. So main body paragraph 2 will be the answer of question 2. So you have to start by a topic sentence, paraphrasing what you have already written in the introduction. So you can write it in your own way or make it more beautiful. I will show you in later on how to make a topic sentence even better. And then you will have to explain or develop the idea, and then you'll have to give an example, and that's the example sentence. So as you can see, every main body paragraph consists of 3 parts: topic sentence, explanation, and example. And I've shown you this in all the IELTS question types, okay? So try to not change the specific structure for the main body paragraph, to not show sort of weakness. So you need to follow this structure to be able to show or demonstrate a strong structure. Now for the conclusion, where you summarize both the questions and answers. So as you can see, in the conclusion, you can simply paraphrase the introduction, by the way. If you want to be on the safe side, go back to the introduction and then go back again to the conclusion and just paraphrase what you have already written in the introduction, because the conclusion is really a version copy of the introduction. So the structure will give us a well-balanced essay with 4 paragraphs. We now need some ideas to add to the structure, and we will have everything we need for our essay. So how to plan IELTS double question essays? Here is the question we are going to be answering in our model essay, followed by the 3 steps of the planning process. So that's the question that we are going to tackle. Fossil fuels are essential for producing electricity, powering industry, and fueling transportation. However, one day we will reach a point when all the world's fossil fuels have been depleted or have been run out or consumed. So now we have 2 questions. How can we conserve these resources? So that's the first question. And what are some alternatives to fossil fuels? So it's obviously a direct question essay. So we need to analyze the question, generate ideas, and identify vocabulary. Let's focus on the first point, which is analyzing the question. This is an essential step in the planning process and will ensure that you answer the question fully. It's quick and easy to do. You just need to identify 3 different types of words: topic words, other keywords, and instruction words. So let's just start by the topic words, which are the ones that identify the general subject of the question and will be found in the statement part of the question. So that's the question, as you can see again. So this question is about fossil fuels. Many people will do this first step of the process and then write about the topic in general. This is a serious mistake and leads to low marks for task achievement. Now that we know what the general topic is. We need to understand exactly what aspect of fossil fuels we are being asked to write about. So the other keywords in the question tell you specific things you must write about. For IELTS double question essays, these will often be in the instructions, that is the actual questions. So that's the question again. Let's focus on the keywords. So by highlighting these words, it's easy to identify the topics. Your essay must only include ideas relevant to these ideas. So the instruction words are the questions themselves. These tell you exactly what type of information is required, and each will become the topic for one of the two main body paragraphs. So the instruction words are actually in the questions, themselves. So the first body paragraph will answer the first question, which is how, and the second body paragraph will answer the second question, which is what. So these are the instruction words, how and what. So the WH questions or the H questions. So now we need to generate ideas. The next task is to generate ideas to write about. So we are going to use the FRANS technique. This is the method I prefer, as it allows you to take a step back from the stress of the exam situation and think more calmly. Here is how it works. So imagine that you are in a casual conversation with a friend over a cup of coffee, and they ask you this question. What are the first thoughts to come into your head? Plan your essay around these ideas. Doing this will help you to come up with simple answers in everyday language, rather than straining your brain to think about amazing ideas using high-level language, which is not necessary. Okay, so try to act like you are in a coffee shop with your friend and try to ask your friend that a specific question to be able to generate to generate the right ideas. So you might want to try this yourself before reading on for my ideas. So here are my ideas as I thought of them. So the first question, how can we conserve these resources? So I was brainstorming and I thought about these ideas. The first one, become more energy conscious and more energy efficient, or use more renewable energy sources, for example, solar panels. Or for example, all new homes should be built with solar panels on. Or use car less, walk, cycle, public transport, only travel when really necessary, or energy efficient light bulbs. So as you can see, the words energy conscious and energy efficient are very good to remember. So try to take notes of these words, because you might need these words if you are being asked about something about energy. So it's good to mention the word energy efficient, energy saving, energy conscious, or renewable energy. These words are very important, or these compounded words are very beneficial and useful for you to have or to write in your essay. So try to write down or remember these words. Now, for the second question, what are some alternatives to fossil fuels? I can talk about solar power, wind power, wave energy, tidal energy. And as you can see, all of these are natural forces, by the way, because the solar, the sun, the wind, the wave, which is the sea, tidal energy, which is the ocean. So all of these are natural forces. So I can mention all of these in one sentence, by the way. See what I'm talking about? And then we have biomass energy and geothermal energy, and not everyone knows about these specific ideas, okay? So don't spend long on this, as you only need one or two ideas. So there is so much to write about this topic that we have to be very careful. We don't try to include too many different ideas and just end up with a list for each question, rather than a well-developed essay. So choose one main idea for each part of the question. My advice on making your selection is to choose ideas that you can quickly think of examples for, okay? So don't just, for example, as I told you, when you read the question, you need to think about the main ideas that you are going to write in your introduction and that you are going to develop throughout the essay. So these ideas, when you think about specific idea, you need to think about, okay, would I be able to explain this or to elaborate or expand the explanation of this idea in the main body paragraph? Would I be able to write about an example related to the idea or to the explanation? You need to think that way before you decide on the main idea or the main answer. Okay, so don't miss this step. Try to memorize what I'm talking about. So here are my choices. So the first question, which is how can we conserve these resources? I'm going to select this idea. Use car less, walk, cycle, public transport. And for the second question, which says, what are some alternatives to fossil fuels? I'm going to say natural forces, as I told you, which is solar and wind power, wave and tidal energy. Okay, amazing answers. And now let's move to the vocabulary. So during the planning stage, quickly jot down some vocabulary that comes to mind as you decide which ideas you are going to write about, especially synonyms of keywords. This will save you having to stop and think of the right language while you are writing. So for the ideas I've chosen, useful words will include sustainable, renewable energy, energy efficient, energy conscious. Sustainable is very good, by the way. With that done, we can focus on the first paragraph of the essay, which is the introduction. Okay, so now let's just move to the introduction. How to write an introduction? So the best introductions to ISW question essays have a simple two-part structure. First of all, you need to paraphrase the question, and second, you need to outline sentence or to write the outline sentence where you state your answer to both questions. Now, it should be about 2 to 3 sentences and be to 40 to 60 words long and take 5 minutes to write. So first of all, we need to paraphrase the question. Start your introduction by paraphrasing the statement part of the question. So that's the question statement here. Now let's paraphrase it. The world is currently reliant on oil, coal, and natural gas for the majority of its energy requirements, but there will come a time when these run out. Let's focus on the words that we actually changed in here. So as you can see, we've added the world. You can add some words as long as you know, when you add some words, you are allowed to add some words when you are paraphrasing, as long as it's not changing the overall topic. So you can mention the world or people, workplace, whatever. You can mention any words if you want. So as you can see, it says reliant on. It's a good word to use. Okay, oil, coal, and natural gas. So oil, coal, and natural gas are synonyms of the word fossil fuels, but not everyone knows the synonym of fossil fuels. So you can keep it as it is. For the majority of its energy requirements, and it says, but there will come a time when these run out. So run out was written instead of depleted. Okay, so we are simply saying the same thing in a different way and using different vocabulary. Now for the second part of the introduction, we have the outline statement. Now we need to add an outline statement where we outline the 2 main points that will cover in the rest of the essay. That is the answers to the 2 questions. So we need to be very specific about what we are going to write about. Here is a reminder of the ideas I've chosen to answer the 2 questions. So for the first question, we chose this answer using car, less, walk, cycle, or public transport. And for the second question that says, what are some alternatives to fossil fuels? So I'm going to talk about the natural forces, which are solar and wind power, wave, and tidal energy. So now let's see the outline statement. This essay will discuss how can we help to prevent our non-renewable resources from becoming depleted by using coal less frequently, and it will name some natural forces that can be harnessed to generate power. Harnessed means utilized or used. Okay. So as you can see, that's an amazing outline statement where I, included or where I wrote actually the main question, the main answer for every single question. So that was the answer for this first question, and that was the answer for the second question. Not my use of synonyms to replace keywords in the question. You don't have to replace every keyword, but do so where possible, whilst ensuring that your language sounds natural. So let's bring the 2 elements of our introduction together. Now we have this introduction. Okay, so I want you to read the introduction slowly. So as you can see, it's a very, very accurate introduction. It shows us a well-structured paragraph. So we started by paraphrasing the question, and then which is the first sentence, and then we have outlined our sentence by actually writing the two main answers for every single question, okay? And you can follow the structure, by the way, or the standard writing. So for example, you can start your outline sentence by, this essay will discuss how blah, 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 blah. So which is the answer of the first question. And it will name blah, 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 blah. So it's a good way to start off sentences, okay? So as you can see, this introduction achieves three important functions. It shows the examiner that you understand the question. It acts as a guide to the examiner as to what your essay is about. And it also helps to keep you focused and on track as you write. So now the two ideas in your introduction will become your two main body paragraphs. So the first main body paragraph will be about using car less, walk, cycle, public transport. And the main body paragraph two will be about renewable energy, natural forces, which are solar and wind power, wave and tidal energy. So now let's start by the first main body paragraph. So how to write main body paragraphs? As I told you, main body paragraphs in IELTS double question essays should contain three things. Topic sentence, where you state your answer for the first question, you explain by developing the idea, and then you give an example, and that's the example sentence. So the main body paragraph one, which is the answer question one, the topic sentence summarizes the main idea of the paragraph. So that's all it needs to do so. So it doesn't have to be complicated, because you need to start by the topic sentence. So it doesn't have to be complicated. It plays an important role in ensuring that your ideas flow logically from one to another. It does this by acting as a signpost for what is to come next. That is what the paragraph will be about. If you maintain a clear development of ideas throughout your essay, you will get high marks for task achievement, cohesion, and coherence. So now, we'll now take the idea for our first main body paragraph and create our topic sentence. So the main body paragraph one, that was the idea that has been already written in the introduction. Now let's write it in our own way. Conserving energy is a responsibility of every individual and an important way in which we can all do our bit to use more energy efficient means of transport. So as you can see, instead of writing walk, cycle, public transport, he uses energy efficient means of transport. Amazing words. Okay, so it's an amazing, if you read the topic sentence, you would find out it's not only paraphrasing of the sentence, it's given it more sense, more meaning, more life. That's what you have to do in the topic sentence. Topic sentence is very important as well. So it's about paraphrasing what you have already written in the introduction, but try to do it in your own way. Beautify it. You need to beautify it. You need to make it more beautiful, more attractive. So when the examiner reads it, he would feel more excited to read what's coming later. Okay? So next, we must write an explanation sentence that develops the idea. Let's see the explanation sentence. The easiest way to do this is to leave the car at home and walk or cycle to our destination if it's not too far away, or take public transport for longer journeys. Another way to reduce our fuel consumption is to car share. Amazing explanation. Now, finally, we add an example to support our main point. If you can't think of a real example, it's fine to make one up as long as it's believable. I've told you this. The examiner is not going to check your facts. Alternative, you could add another piece of information to support your idea, but an example is better. Okay, so some people or some students might find a difficulty to try writing an example sentence. Okay, if you can't think of any example, you can expand on your explanation, but it's more preferable to provide an example, because in the question it says give examples where relevant. Okay, so don't forget this. So let's see the example sentence. Whenever my friends and I get together for coffee, we agree to meet up at a cafe that we can each get to without having to drive our cars there. We usually go on foot or ride our bikes. If everyone made small decisions like this, it would make a real difference. Amazing explanation. Now I'm going to give you some time to read the whole paragraph. Okay, so now let's move to main body paragraph 2. So the main body paragraph 2, which is the answer of the second question. Again, we will now take the idea I've chosen for this paragraph and create our topic sentence. So main body paragraph 2, which has to be about renewable energy, natural forces that are the solar and wind power, wave and tidal energy. So now let's see the topic sentence. The most sustainable alternatives to fossil fuels are the generation of power from natural forces such as the sun, wind, and oceans. Now for the explanation where we expand on this idea. So solar and wind power are already widely used across the world, but it is wave power and tidal energy that have the greatest untapped potential to provide for our energy needs in the future. Untapped means never used before, okay? And tidal energy means the energy that comes from oceans, the tides of the oceans. You know when we call waves, so we use waves for the sea, and we use tides for the ocean, okay? So now, finally, we have to add an example sentence. A report recently commissioned in the United Kingdom estimates that tidal energy could meet as much as 20% of the UK's current electricity demands once the technology being developed is operational. Wave energy converters are expected to prove equally successful in the long term. So that's the 3 parts of our second main body paragraph complete. Here is the finished paragraph. So as you can see in the example sentence, you don't have to be real about this information. So I just I just made it up. The UK's, so the place, United Kingdom, I made it up. The percentage, I made it up. So you can make up things because you are just trying to support your topic sentence or your explanation, okay? So now I'm gonna give you some time to read the whole paragraph again. As you can see, we have the word commissioned here in the example sentence. It says a report recently commissioned in the United Kingdom. Commissioned as a verb could mean showed or demonstrated or commissioned in the UK, carried out in the UK, okay? So commissioned in the UK means carried out in the UK, okay? It's an amazing synonym of the word carried out or held or done, whatever. So now the conclusion. The conclusion is a summary of the main points in your essay and can often be done in a single sentence. It should never introduce new ideas. If you are below the minimum 250 words after you've written your conclusion, you can add a prediction or recommendation statement. So our essay is already over the minimum word limit, so we don't need this extra sentence, but you can learn more about how to write a prediction in here. So the conclusion is the easiest sentence in the essay to write, but one of the most important. So a good conclusion to an IELTS double question essay will neatly end the essay, link all your ideas together, sum up your argument or opinion, and answer the question. If you achieve this, you will improve your score for both task achievement and cohesion and coherence. which together make up 50% of the overall marks. Without a conclusion, you will score below band 6 for task achievement. So you can start almost any final paragraph of an IELTS double question essay with the words in conclusion or to conclude. Now you need to do is, now all you need to do is briefly summarize the main ideas into 1 or 2 sentences. Here is a top tip. Go back and do the introduction to the essay, because this is also a summary of the essay. It outlines what you are going to write about. So to create a great conclusion, you simply have to paraphrase the introduction. So that's the introduction, as you can see. Now let's just paraphrase the conclusion. So here is the same information formed into conclusion. In conclusion, our Earth's reserves of fossil fuels will not last forever, and we need to be continually developing new technologies to enable us to produce energy from renewable sources such as sun, wind, and water. So as you can see, I used water instead of ocean and sea, okay, instead of wave power and or tidal energy or wave energy. So in the meantime, we can help to slow the rate of depletion by leaving the car at home and using more energy efficient forms of transport whenever possible. So if you read this again, you would notice that it's completely, or it's literally a paraphrase or a real paraphrasing of the introduction. That's it. If you want to be on the safe side, go to the introduction and then go back again and write another copy of the introduction by paraphrasing it, okay? So when you paraphrase, you have to try to change as much as you can of words, and don't do it if you are not fully sure of the meaning of the synonym you are about to use, okay? So as you can see, it's a very simple structure to follow in the conclusion, and it's a very easy structure to follow. So as you can see, here is our full essay. We've reached about 351 words, okay? So that's the full essay. That's the introduction, main body paragraph 1, main body paragraph 2, which is the answer of the second question, and then we have the conclusion, and we've reached 351 words, okay? So as you can see, this has to be done in about 40 minutes. So in the IELTS exam, you need to take only 40 minutes. So as I told you, and let me just give you another recommendation. Before you start writing, take about 5 minutes. Think about the main ideas that you are going to develop in your main body paragraph 1 and 2. Think about, think if these ideas would be easy to form an example of or to form an explanation of. Try to think that way. Try to think about vocabularies. Try to think about, the synonym of some words that you are going to frequently use throughout the essay, just to avoid repetition, okay? Because you need to avoid repetition as much as you can. In the IELTS exam, if you repeat a lot of words, you might lose marks over this. So try to avoid repetition. Try to use simple sentences and complex sentences, or compound sentences, or compound complex sentences. By the way, I will be uploading a video about types of sentences to be able to write a very well structured essay. So writing or scoring high in IELTS test is not only about the structure of the essay, it's about ideas, it's about answering the question in a very proper way, it's about if you are mentioning examples, if you are supporting your topic sentences with the right explanation, if you are not missing a conclusion or you are not missing an introduction, if you are using a lot of vocabularies, if you are using complex and simple sentences, if you also are using some conjunction words, for example, although, however, we have a lot of conjunction words that you can use. For example, if we focus on this essay, let's just focus, by the way, and even by the way, the verb tenses. So you need to use various verb tenses: present simple, present continuous, past perfect, present perfect, simple, present perfect, continuous. So try to remember this. So let me just focus on the verb tenses. So in the first paragraph, depleted by. So that's the passive form. It's a good way to use passive form sentences, and that's we'll discuss. So that's the future tense. Okay, run out. So that's the present simple. Okay, what else do we have? Take. It's a present simple. That's the infinitive form of verb. To reduce. We can each get. So that's the present simple. If everyone made, so that's the past simple. It would. Okay, it would make. So that's a conditional form. What else do we have? Are widely used. Okay, so that's the actual active. That's the present active form. That's the present simple. That's commissioned. So that's the past simple. That's the present simple estimates. Been developed. Okay, that's the passive form of what's called the present. Are expected. Amazing active form as well. Will not, that's the future tense. So we have a variety of verb tenses, as you can see, and it's recommended to use the present perfect or the present perfect continuous as well in your sentences. That would give more livability to your sentences. Now let's see, or let's focus on some conjunction words or connecting adverbs. So what did we use here? In the first one, we have but and another way to is a good conjunction word. Whenever as well. Usually is a good adverb. Using adverbs is very important as well, by the way. I'm going to upload a video about using adverbs. Adverbs give your sentences a beautiful sense, a straightforward sense, a bright meaning of your sentences. Using adverbs is very beneficial and is very active. It would actually activate your sentences. I love adverbs. Okay, let me just, yes, we have but here again. Across is a good word as well. Across is an adverb. And also as much as, beautiful to use. Yes, maybe I have missed some. But you can, in the meantime, is a conjunction word as well, and it's good to use in conclusion as well. So as you can see, using of some connecting adverbs or conjunction adverbs will link your sentences all together and will alleviate or reduce the colloquial use of some sentences. Okay, so that's all. Please, if you have any questions, just write down in the comments section below. And I hope that you found this lesson very beneficial. If you have any questions, guys, please don't forget to write for me or write me in the comment section below. I will reply to you individually and personally. And please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and activate the bell button to help receive all my upcoming uploads. I will be uploading a multitude of videos about writing task. I will start uploading videos about writing task 1, academic version, and general IELTS version. Okay, so always, check my videos, always like and comment on my videos. And I wish you all the best, guys. And I look forward to seeing you again on my channel. Best of luck and enjoy the rest of the day, wherever you are in the world. Goodbye.